So Biden caused the war, but Trump campaigned saying he was going to end the war.
Texas's most hated senator and man who apparently thinks mutton chops go on your chin, Ted Cruz, just face-planted on Fox News while trying to defend Trump's surrendering to Putin and projecting that Volodymyr Zelensky is in fact the dictator of the bunch. And it's actually really impressive because, as we'll see, Cruz's conservative contortions led his face to land squarely up his own ass. Now, there is a lot to unpack in this humiliating saga, and the internet had a lot to say about Cruz's conundrum, so I implore you to drop your best roast of Fled in those comments down below. While you're there, smash the like button, make sure you're subscribed, and do yourself a favor by sticking around to the end for a Fled Cruz cringe compilation I've compiled purely for your viewing pleasure.
Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
Now, on that note of your viewing pleasure, I've made sure not to include any footage of Trump speaking in this video because nobody needs that in their life. But in order to set up Fled's Fox News flop, we do need to quickly recap what Trump said today that basically amounts to him surrendering to Putin.
And it's a complete betrayal of the Ukrainian people, of American leadership and our values. I never thought in the 23 years I served in the military that I would hear the commander-in-chief of the United States military parroting Russian talking points. And really, you know, it is astonishing to me that he would also betray our allies in Europe in this way and pave the way for Putin. He essentially has just surrendered to Putin, and that simply is not acceptable.
Yeah, I don't know if you're new here, lady, but Trump's been swallowing and regurgitating Putin talking points for as long as there have been allegations of him doing the same thing with Putin's peace stream. But what she's referring to is Trump earlier today ironically calling Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator after Zelensky rightly pointed out that Trump lives in a misinformation space. And Diaper Don's false accusation diatribe stemmed from him knowing nothing about anything and claiming that because Zelensky hadn't held elections while his country is being invaded by Russia, that constituted him being a dictator. But even Fox News couldn't get behind that BS nonsense as they brought on General Jack Keane, who was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Donald Trump, to explain how the Ukrainian Constitution works under the country's current state of martial law because Trump's manhandler is invading their nation.
Look at the Constitution that Ukraine has prohibits elections when you declare martial law because of a state of war takes place. And obviously, you know, the incumbent who is trying to run a war to be involved in an election and bringing people together in primaries and other elections puts the people at risk. So that the fact that their constitution is driving this, the parliament, bipartisan support for all the extensions they've had to the martial law. So they are acting democratically, in my judgment, in abiding by their constitution. And also the parliament is supporting it, which represents the people throughout the country. These are democratic actions taking place in a democratic country. I don't believe we should try and push elections on Zelensky during the middle of this war. I think if there is a peace agreement, I think Zelensky and others and the people themselves will demand an election, and it would likely take place assuming the peace agreement has some real legs to it.
Yeah, and it's not exactly surprising that Trump would have a problem with other leaders acting democratically or in accordance with the will of the people. I mean, he literally just called himself a king, and the White House Instagram account posted this. But what is quite shocking is what Ted Cruz had to say in Trump's defense, and particularly where he plants the blame for the war in Ukraine. Take a listen to this, and then we'll watch Ted get destroyed by the internet and his past self.
Trump today really gave him a shot across the bow. Stop talking back. Stop undermining Trump's peace efforts with Putin. And eventually we'll include Ukraine and other people as well. Just stop. He called him essentially a dictator and said martial law. He couldn't win an election in Ukraine. What do you make of that? What do you personally think about that?
Well, listen, number one, it was clear when President Trump campaigned throughout last year that he was campaigning, among other things, on ending the war in Ukraine. The war in Ukraine was caused by Joe Biden's weakness, his weakness as commander-in-chief. It was caused by Joe Biden waiving the sanctions on the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline that runs from Russia to Germany. As you know, I authored those sanctions, and Putin stopped building the Nord Stream 2 pipeline literally the day President Trump signed my sanctions legislation into law. So Biden caused the war, but Trump campaigned saying he was going to end the war. And I've been very clear. We will see this war end, and I think it will end in the first half of this year. I will say this. I don't think President Zelensky is doing himself any favors by running to the European press and attacking President Trump. You and I both know President Trump very well, and that is a strategy that is almost designed in a lab to produce the opposite of the outcome he's trying to get. And so I think he probably needs to recalibrate his approach.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, maybe not that surprising that a man who can't even stand up for his own wife when Trump insults her won't stand up for Zelensky.
Perhaps a new low in the race for president. The focus turning to the wives of two of the Republican candidates.
Tonight, an enraged Ted Cruz looking right into our camera to deliver this message to Donald Trump.
Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
But damn, to elbow your own ally in the face like that and blame Biden for Putin attacking a sovereign nation, that's also not shocking.
God bless.
When fans of Ted Cruz say cruising for a bruising, they do not mean bruising Cruz's wife. But when Ted announced he was suspending his campaign, his wife Heidi was the one he poked and then elbowed in the head. Inspiring headlines like, "Love means not accidentally elbowing your wife in the face." The video went viral as a guilty pleasure, slow-moed and made into countless GIFs, with sound effects added, and even a wrestling announcer's voice. Tweeted one critic, "Why would Ted Cruz notice he accidentally bashed his wife's head in? He didn't notice when another woman fell off the damn stage." That would be his short-lived running mate, Carly Fiorina.
Ted Cruz!
It was Ted's wife who did notice and offered a hand.
And because roasting Ted Cruz is obviously an American pastime, the internet had a field day with this as well, with Aaron Rupar, the one who posted the clip, saying Ted Cruz, quote, "Biden caused the war. It was actually caused by Putin's aggression." With one account posting, "So now the majority of the GOP is adopting Moscow's talking points, talk about weakness." Another responding, "You have to forgive Ted Cruz. He's still on vacation in Cancun all these years. He knows full well that the truth is Russia started it." Amazing how the same political party can't even agree on who caused the war, united only by not uttering Putin's name. When can we return to common sense? This is all absurd. This choice one down here I won't read aloud, but we'll leave on the screen. And it's like how natural disasters in Texas forces Cruz to vacation in Cancun. So if there's any sliver of silver lining we can take from this whole fiasco, it's that Ted Cruz will never live down his many moments of infamy. And if that sounds good to you, make sure you drop your Ted Cruz roast down below. Winner gets the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And if you enjoy watching these people get called out, please drop a like, subscribe to the Really American channel to join the resistance. And for Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you all in the next one.